What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to Celio's Network. Today is going to be a quick informational type of video, but definitely very interesting and insightful if you are somebody competing in the Pokemon TCG, looking to get better at playing, building decks, metagaming, things like that, knowing what players are doing well with. This site, Dinodata.app, is going to be an amazing resource for you. So today I'm going to show you around the site a little bit and teach you how to use it. Shouts out to Dinodata.app for making Dinodata.app. It's a very good site. I am not affiliated with it in any way. I just think it's a great resource that you should be trying out. Before we do that though, shout out to PotownStore.com, who I am affiliated with, and you can use code Celio for 5% off over there on PTCGO codes. So, the description of Dinodata.app, as the site says, welcome to Dinodata.app, your home for Pokemon trading card game analysis. This site provides different types of analysis for our users. Users can apply filters to determine which tournaments to include. From there, check out different types of analysis for in-depth coverage. So there are going to be two ones that we're checking out today, the meta analysis and the deck lists analysis. The tournament analysis, super simple. We'll cover that real quick because we're not going to go in depth. It just shows you attendance for tournaments. You can look at the attendance by time zone, by country, drops per round, player count, which format, that's kind of all of that. So that's not really pertinent to us for playing and building decks and metagaming, but something cool that's also on the site. We're going to start with the meta-analysis tab. Take an in-depth look into how decks are placing in tournaments, their matchups, and how often they appear in events. So the first thing we're going to need to use is the tournament filters. We're going to filter standard format, but you can pick any of these. We're going to pick standard. Minimum players, let's pick 64 minimum players. And the date range, let's have the date range be all of 2021. So from January 1st to now. Actually, that's not now. What's now? It's 1 a.m. on February 18th. So we'll do from January 1st to February 18th. So that's going to be our date range. And it's applying anything within all of these tournaments that are standard with 64 players at least and have been held between January 1st and February 18th. So we'll apply that. And now we have 53 tournaments found. Okay, great. So we'll close that. And we have these archetypes, but we can add a couple more archetypes. So let's just add a couple more while we're here. We'll add Orbeetle. We will add, let's see. Let's add a couple more to make it a little interesting. We'll add Orbeetle and we'll add the Decidueye Obstagoon. Okay, so we'll add those two to the list. Minimum games played 10, so that means that the matchup has to have a minimum of 10 games played to be on the graph. Okay, so we have 12 across, 12 down, and this is how you read this data. Also, you can zoom in. You could do this and just zoom in, and then how do we go out of here? Auto scale. There we go. So you can click auto scale. You can also download it as a PNG, just take a screenshot of it, which is sick. But yeah, like if you want to just focus on, let's say, Pikarom and Welder Mewtwo matchups, you could just do this and you're only looking at those so you can see them better. But you can honestly see everything pretty well, even just with the default. You'll see some gray squares. So this is a gray one because there's not at least 10 games played. And then this is a gray one because it's the same matchup, not at least 10 games played. Everything else has at least 10. So the matchup is coming from the perspective of the deck on the left. So Blacephalon versus Centiskorch is 55% in Blacephalon's favored, and there's 407 matches of that played in all of these tournaments. And so on, Blacephalon 61% favored versus Colossal, and there's 134 tournaments played. So you can look at all these decks matchup spreads going down the line. Let's add in a couple more interesting ones just to show you how it works. And updates will add in Excadrill and Dragapult. Do we get any more gray squares? No. No, looks like all of these have played against each other at least 10 times in the past month and a half. And that's how you get this awesome graph of matchup spreads. Now it gets more interesting. Let's click the trend. That's just the matchup tab. So let's click the trend. We're going to add a couple more. We got Etern, Senti, Pika, Zacian. Let's have Luke Metal, Blasef, and Mad Party added. Now this here shows the trends of how popular the meta share percentages these decks have been in tournaments based on the date. So let's follow Mad Party. Mad Party started on New Year's with 8.8% and then peaked a couple days. Peaked the next day. That's Sasha and Luke Metal. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Let's we could do this. Just remove all of them to make it easier, actually. Let's only look at Mad Party. So Mad Party has had a low of 0.8% decks played, and peaking at 10% of the metagame. And you'll even see it says which tournament it was. So you'll see here, this was Azul's tournament where ADP was banned. So that could even be a factor that comes into it. So the trend you use to see how popular decks have been over a matter of time. And then the meta breakdown. This one's really nice. So in these tournaments, 53 found, standard format, minimum of 64 players, date range January to February. It shows you how many tournaments have been won by each decks, which decks won how many tournaments. So Eternatus has won the most standard format tournaments with 64 players plus in January and February, with Santa Scorch at the second most one, Pika Rum with the third most one, Zacian with the fourth most one. You can then click finals. How many of these have made finals? Santa Scorch beats Eternatus at making finals. We go to top 4, same order. We go to top 8. Pika Rum is now in the lead if we go down the top 8. We go down the top 16, Eternatus is back on top. We go down the top 32, Eternatus. We go to overall and see, not based on placing, but how many are played. And it's Pika Rum, then ADPZ, then Blacephalon. There's one being missed in here. So wait, that wasn't true. Yeah, okay, so this is the best place to zoom in. When we have all of this data, you're going to want to zoom in eventually. So let's just look at the top part. So Eternatus has actually been the most played. We were missing Eternatus because we weren't zoomed in enough. So let's just zoom in on like the top 15 or so, and we'll look at it like this. Yeah, so Eternatus, the top played, Pika Rum, Senti, Zacian, ADP, Zacian, Luke Metal. So this is a really, really great tool. And let's just look. So if we change it to just February 1st to now, apply 11 tournaments standard with 64 plus players in the past 2 weeks. Honestly, pretty good. And you can see the data if it changed. Pika Rum has the most wins, tied with Senti. The finals, what's in the finals? We got Santa Scorch with the most finals, Pika Rum with the most top 4s, etc., etc. Now the next thing we'll look at, Decklist's analysis. This page is best for players looking to become an expert on a single deck archetype. So tournament filters, same thing. Let's put it back to January 1st, and minimum 64, standard 53 tournaments. Great. This shows you how often cards appear in a specific type of deck. So change the placement filter to see how similar the winning deck lists are. So let's just look at winner. So Blacephalon decks, the winning Blacephalon decks, 100%. This doesn't show you how many of the cards were played. It shows you how frequently they appear in the decks of the category you selected. So Blacephalon decks that won a tournament, 100% of them had all of these cards. Then 66% of them had all these cards. 33% of them had these cards. Now, if we go to finals, you're going to find it's going to vary more. So when we go to finals, we lose Galarian Zigzagoon. Let's see. Fire Energy Giant Hearth. I think it might have been Reshizard. No, it wasn't Reshizard. I'm not sure which one it was, but 2 of the 100% turn into 87%, and you'll see the breakdowns change. Then we go to top 4. and more of the breakdowns change. So now there's Reshizard coming out of the 100%, so we lose another 100%. Go to top 8, even less 100%. Go to top 16, less 100%. Top 32, less. So the decks are getting less and less alike as you go down, because more people are playing more varied deck lists and are doing less well with them. So you could do this for any of the decks. Just pick your deck. You can just type it in right here. So if I wanted to do Colossal, you pick Colossal, and there was only one winning Colossal deck, so it's just going to say 100% down the thing. There were only 2 in finals, so it's going to say hundreds or 50s. And then, you know, you get more diverse, like I said, as you go down. Look at the top 16 Colossal decks, the top 32 Colossal decks, they're going to be more varied. And the last thing we'll look at is tech cards. So this one's really, really cool. Still the same tournament filters. So let's pick Eternatus, and then the card. I already had picked the card before I started recording, just to make sure I understood all the charts and whatnot before we started looking at it. So we'll pick Eternatus, and then we will pick the card that we want to look at. So let's see how Power Plant affects the matchups. This tab allows you to see how certain cards affect the matchups for a specific deck. Minimum games played, 10, and then it shows you the counts. So there's been 4,451 matches played with 0 power plants in Eternatus. There's been 875 with 2, so 2 is the second most frequent. One isn't really popular. You'll see there's only 200 played with 1 power plant and 98 played with 4 power plant. So there are a couple missing datas for 1 and 4. But 0 and 2 are the really the ones you'll be looking at. So let's see how adding power plant to the deck affects it. You'll see at 0, the overall win percentage of Eternatus is 56%, and then the overall win percentage with 2 power plant is 57%. So it goes up a very small amount, but let's see where it goes up. So the matchup goes from just about even to pretty favorable versus Blacephalon. The matchup goes down versus Centiskorch, because this means you're not playing Chaotic Swell, probably, which I would kind of say is the factor for that. It goes up pretty drastically versus Mad Party. It goes up really well versus Pikarom. It goes way, way up versus Welder Mewtwo. It goes up versus Zacian ADP. So you can see those matchups that it gets better in by playing Power Plant. Let's pick another matchup. Let's go Pikarom and then Vikavolt, and see how that has affected things. Okay, so it's either 0 or 1. There's 2 matches played with 2 Vikavolts. So either 0 or 1. Let's see if it affects anything. The overall win percentage goes down slightly when you add a Vikavolt in, but the matchup spread versus Blacephalon goes up by 10%. The matchup spread versus Zacian ADP goes up 2% actually, but that just might not be significant enough. It goes down versus Centiskorch. It goes down a bit versus Welder Mewtwo. It goes down a bit versus Eternatus. And it goes up 10% versus Blound. So if you wanted to just beat Blound, then maybe you would add Vikavolt. But this shows you it doesn't help overall. If anything, it hurts a little. It does help versus Blound. This might just be an anomaly. It looks like it helps very, very slightly versus Zacian Luke Metal. Really, like, I'm taking like 5% and more as a relevant amount of percentages. But you can choose to do and read and analyze and take these percentages in this data with whatever kind of weight you want to, and that's the beauty of having all this data at your disposal. So I hope this has helped you, and I hope you're excited to dive into some of this data on Dinodata.com. I'm sorry, .app. Dinodata.app. Yeah, that's the website. So check this out if you're interested in any of the stuff I just talked about. Let me know if you have any further questions about it. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.